All right, let's move on to the East. Number one, for me, is a no-brainer. I got the Milwaukee Bucks. So as long as Giannis stays healthy, as long as his team stays healthy, I think they will once again dominate like they always do. I think that what they did in the offseason was brilliant. They kept Brooks, not Brooks. What's his name? Their center. His name
Lopez.
Yes, Brooke Lopez. Thank you. They got his brother, Robin Lopez. You know, the Disneyland twins. They got them both on the team. They picked, or they were able to keep another piece that they really needed to in. Man, everyone's name is escaping
Middleton.
Me. Thank you. So they were able to get both of those guys back, which was really important. And I just think that this team is going to be really dominant. Thanks for covering down, JD. I'm struggling today, guys. I apologize, audience. Number good. Let me see who I have at number 2. I have the Cavs, actually. I have the Cleveland Cavaliers. Yeah. I think so. Last season, they were the number 4 seed, right? I think they're only going to get better. I think that, the season prior to picking up Donovan Mitchell, they showed that they're a young and talented team, and just barely missed the playoffs. When they added him, they became the 4th seed. We know as Utah Jazz fans, there are a few constants in the universe. You got to pay your taxes, water's wet, and every single season, Donovan Mitchell finds a way to get better. Every single season. That kid works his butt off. I think he's going to take his work ethic, and it is going to be infectious for guys like Darius Garland and Evan Mobley. I think this team takes another leap. They're all young. All these guys are under the age of 26, man, besides Don. That's a good, talented team. I think the Mavs are going to come out swinging. I really do.
The Cavs?
Thank you, the Cavs.
Mm-hmm. I disagree with this. I could see them being 4th or 5th. They've got a young team. They're growing and developing. However, just given the situation that was the playoffs this last season, they just didn't look like coordinated. They didn't look well. Maybe they have something to prove next season. Maybe they have a chip on their shoulder. But given all of these Donovan rumors, this might do the exact opposite of what you're saying and hurt them. So we'll have to see.
That's a very good point that I did not think about. All of these rumors could fracture that locker room. Hopefully it doesn't. I personally expect the Cavs to make another jump, but we're going to see. Number 3, I have the Boston Celtics, man. I'm not the biggest fan of the Kristaps Porzingis trade. However, you have to admit, everyone does, that Porzingis is just more talented than Marcus Smart. So I'm interested to see how this works. But I would assume that Boston just still sits up in the top 3, top 4. I think that that's where they're going to be moving forward for a long time. This team consistently is able to make the Eastern Conference Finals. They're fantastic. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, now Kristaps Porzingis. I mean, what do you think of the Celtics, man?
I think that they got better adding Porzingis. I know that we have a video that we talk about this and we disagree on it. Mm-hmm. You're really high on Marcus Smart, and he's a defensive prowess. He has that defensive prowess, rather. But I think just adding Porzingis, who doesn't need the ball to make some buckets, who's a good center, who can really block, it's adding a legitimate center to the team. And I just think that that's going to be a help. Although there is a notion to be made that there's going to be less passing involved, and it might be more difficult on them. We'll have to take a look.
Yeah, Jason Tatum has to step up and really become a playmaker for his team. Or Jaylen Brown. Somebody has to. I mean, it should fall on JT's shoulders because this is his team. But someone's going to have to pass the ball. They're going to have to figure something out. Number 4, I got the Philadelphia 76ers. So James Harden is not going anywhere right now. I think that Daryl Morey has made that abundantly clear, that regardless of how upset and dissatisfied James Harden is, he's staying in Philadelphia unless they can get something amazing for him. Either pieces to trade for a star or a star in return. No one's given that up for James Harden. It's not happening. And James Harden opting into the last year of his deal, he knows that if he doesn't want to be competing for scrap contracts the rest of his career, he's going to have to come out and ball out, play like he was the Rockets Harden again. He's going to have to put his best foot forward because it's in what's best for his own self-interest. I think that will propel the 76ers to at least the 4th spot. Number 5, I have the New York Knicks again. I think the Knicks are going to be consistent. I think that they had some offseason moves that were stellar. I think that keeping Josh Hart around is fantastic. Jalen Brunson once again showed us that, he's the real deal. He's the king of New York. Barring injury, this is a really tough defensive team. Coach Tibbs always knows what to do with these kind of guys. He loves guys that go out and are dogs, man. And that's pretty much the entire roster of the New York Knicks. Number 6, I have the Atlanta Hawks. So I got them up here a little bit just because I think having a full year with Quinn Snyder is going to be very beneficial for that team. I really do. I think that Trae Young is probably the perfect piece for Quinn Snyder, honestly. And I can understand how he would be salivating over wanting to coach someone like Trae Young. What do you think of that? Do I got the Hawks too high?
You have the Hawks way too high.
All right,
the Hawks, I just don't think this is possible. And I'm not a Hawks hater. I actually really like the Hawks. I really like Trae Young. Mm-hmm. And I think the fact that they got to the Eastern Conference Finals a few years ago really shows that Trae Young is a dominant force to be reckoned with. Mm-hmm. However, just given their past few years, they just don't look like they are more than a mediocre team. And I'm going to be honest, losing John Collins for scraps is not good. It just makes the team worse. And I don't think they've really made a considerable upgrade since then. A lot of Hawks fans were saying, well, now we have the opportunity to go after somebody, but I haven't seen anybody they've gone after. The market's just not that good, and Collins still has a lot to prove. So the Hawks are not going to get better after this year.
I disagree because I think that Quinn Snyder has the capability to bring out the best from Trae Young and Javonte Murray. I think that the big Achilles heel, especially in Quinn Snyder's system, is just going to be consistent three-point shooting, which this team doesn't really have. That's going to be their biggest threat next year in terms of trying to make it high in the standings. Number 7, I have the Brooklyn Nets. I like the Nets. I just can't see them being much higher than 7 at the moment. I like
this is too high again, in my opinion.
What? Number 7? Nah, they'll make the 7.
Yeah, keep going. Let's hear it. Let's hear
All right. Take. They got Mikal Bridges, and honestly, I'm rolling the dice, and I am banking 100% on Ben Simmons. This might be the craziest thing I've ever done, but he says he's healthy. He says he's ready to play, and I want to see him play, man. I want to see what he's got.
So wait, what did he say last season? That he was unhealthy and not planning on playing? He said the same thing last year.
I know it's the vicious cycle of Ben Simmons. He's always hurt. He posts himself working out, on Instagram.
Yes.
And then the season rolls around and he's not playing. This year's going to be different. I got faith. Ben, do not let me down, Ben.
He's going to let you down.
Don't make me look bad,
He's going to let you down.
Ben, don't do that to me. All right. Number 8, I got Miami, the Miami Heat. They're just not a good regular season team. They got worse. And I think I'm being very gracious by putting them here at 8, unless they get Damian Lillard, which I don't even know if that's happening.
They might get him.
They might. And if they do, it changes everything. But as of right now, losing Gabe Vincent the way they did, and they lost someone else as well. I can't remember that guy's name. One of those guys went to LA, though.
They lost Vincent, and they lost Max Strus to the Cavs.
Yeah. See, that's going to damage that team greatly. So I think I'm being very benevolent by allowing them to sit in the 8th seed.
See, I disagree with that, Doc.
How?
Because the Miami Heat have proved one thing. They can find talent in these undrafted picks and the Jimmy Butler factor. I just think that if they make a push, they can make a push. And although you're right, they don't seem like the best regular season team, I can see them finishing like 5th or 6th.
I mean, if they want to avoid the play-in again, they're going to have to. But I honestly don't even know if that matters to them after what they did last year. That was the most incredible run I think I've ever seen from an 8th seed all the way up to the finals. All right, number 9, I got the Toronto Raptors. I just don't think this team got any better. As much as I like Grady Dick, most of the time rookies just don't make a good impact. I just don't know where this team is going. I don't know what they're doing. And I just need to see something. I know they lost Fred VanVleet, and while that might not be a massive loss, I still think it is a pretty big loss. So
I think it's a big loss.
Yeah. I want to see more from Scotty Barnes. This kid needs to develop. It's like the time is now, Scotty. You got to become something, dude. You have to. Pascal Siakam has to steady the ship, and I just don't have much faith in this roster at the moment.
See, you have more faith than I do in this team right now, Doc, because there is no shot they're making the play-in. I think that the fact that they lost Van Fleet and they're kind of in like this pseudo rebuild where they're trying to figure out, they're probably going to have Grady Dick play some considerable playing time. They lost their major point guard. I just don't see them being in this area. I think they finished around here, maybe a little bit worse. Or no, it was around here this last season. Yeah. And losing one of your star players, I can't see them finishing around here. They're probably more around the 11th for me, 11th, 12th.
I mean, I think that's fair too. Number 10, I have the Pacers. Now, out of all these playoff or play-in teams in the East, I think the guys that are going to lock themselves into the playoffs are going to be the Pacers and probably the Heat. As much as I like the Nets and the Raptors too, I think the Heat and the Pacers are poised to make some noise next year, man. They really are. I think the pickup too. Yeah, man. Like they're ready. They're locked and loaded. Benedict Mathurin is going to take another step. He looked really smooth in Summer League. Tyrese Halliburton, still in my opinion, and I will not go back on it, is the best traditional point guard in the NBA, bar none. And they still have Miles Turner. I like this team. I can't wait to see them moving forward.
Oh, me neither. In fact, I think I could have them higher than the Raptors. I think that they show a lot of promise. They just got Bruce Brown. They got Obi Toppin. I don't think it's going to take too long for those guys to mesh, because those are those type of guys who are just willing to be playmakers. Yeah, easy plug-in, and they just mesh well with teams. I mean, they're not selfish players, so I could see them going pretty high with Halliburton at the helm too. I mean, there was a stint where the guy had how many assists to 0 turnovers? Wasn't it like 40 or something?
40
like that?
to 0. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So insane. I mean, the guy is insane at passing, and he's just like, it just shows that he's a very smooth passer and smart passer.
Yeah, some of the best court vision right now in the NBA, and to have a skill like that at such a young age is very, very impressive, very remarkable too. I think Obi Toppin's going to have a breakout year, because Tyrese Halliburton makes everybody look better. That's just facts.
But you think that they're going to finish 10th?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think that 9 or 10 could be interchangeable personally. And like I said, I still think that when the play-in tournament smoke settles, the two teams walking out of that are going to be the Heat and the Pacers. I think personally the Nets and the Raptors are probably going to get smashed.
Mm-hmm. Well, guys, this is Doc's playoff predictions. Way too early playoff predictions. Let us know what you think below. But it seems pretty good, although a few I disagreed on, but I like it.
Not bad, right?
Thank you for watching another episode of the Full Court Press NBA podcast. For the full podcast, click